it's that time of day. Time for a walk. I thought you might like to keep me company. Check out the local scenery and meet my 3 dogs. Rosie, the old girl, Dusty and Buttons, the little one. Away we go. First stop, a group of mailboxes. I wonder what they're called. I know a collection of crows is called a murder, but here we have a collection of country mailboxes. A couple of milk cans. This is a genuine old milk can with holes in the bottom of it and all. This is a brand new facsimile, this being dairy country. A nice old oil can to keep the old engines running, with a downward slope to keep the weather out of it. Bit of old rubber fan belt or something, pop riveted onto the top of it. Bit of scungy old fencing wire and an old steel fence post. Great. And here we have a real old relic. This is an old army ammunition box. I'm sure that's what it is. And, well, this one, nobody even uses this. I mean, who in their right mind would use a mailbox like this? I mean, man, oh man, what can you fit in it? Nothing exciting anyway. Okay, let's continue. Don't have to go very far to find some bush tucker. There's a nice prickly currant bush up there. I've eaten them, they're nice. They're tiny weeny little berries, but the bush is very prickly. And over this side of the road is one of my favourite trees. It's an elderberry tree. See? Lovely elderflowers, which I put in my teapot. Elderflower fritters. People make elderberry wine, plonk out of it, of course. I'm very fond of these flowers, and they have a most unusual scent, and they do attract flies, the smell. It's almost fetid, a little bit like the hawthorn. Beautiful. Good for the birds too. Come on. Good puppies. Good puppies. Lovely swathes of forget-me-nots and ferns along here. The wildlife around here is largely wombats, foxes and rabbits. The odd feral cat thrown in. You could eat from the side of the road here if you liked. There's a lot of those milk thistles, but I wouldn't suggest it because they do spray pretty recklessly around here for roadside weeds. But all along the sides of the road here are little trails you can see there. Something's been going up and down there on its way to breakfast, lunch or dinner. There are quite a few garden escapes out here on the roadsides. This one here, called false balm of Gilead. But this smells fantastic, this plant, but it does grow a bit spastic, but at least it's better than blackberries, because there's enough of them grows around here. And of course, if you get sick of looking at the roadsides, there's plenty to look at. It's quite a lovely panorama out here to investigate. I do enjoy it. Well, look who we have here. We have neighbours. We have people actually drive on this country road. And you're my neighbours, aren't you? Introduce yourselves.
Yeah, we are.
Who are you?
My name is Tara.
Of course it is.
My name is Seth.
Of course it is. And there's your dad in there. How you going?
Good, how are you?
Shadowy figure right over the other side. All right, well, you're home from school and you're going that way and I'm going this way.
Wait.
Did you have a good day in school?
Yeah. Yes.
Right, now we had some actually good news. What's happening for you tomorrow?
Tomorrow we're doing school camp and
Tell them.
that at school camp we have to pack our bags with all of our home clothes, and we don't have to bring our school clothes. We just have to bring one teddy, and we have to bring our drummers as well.
No worries. You'll be looking forward to that. Camping at school. Hey, Puong, is it? No.
No, it's Walk Primary School.
Fantastic.
It's after Puong. You go down a road next to...
Well, if they don't know, they can find out if they want to.
Oh, that's so exciting!
It is exciting, isn't it? All right, thank you. I'll continue my walk with the dogs, and you can go home after school.
Goodbye, everyone!
Goodbye, everyone.
That's it. Well, you never know who or what you might run into out here in the middle of nowhere. Not so long ago, there were beautiful tree ferns here down the bank. You can see now the vestiges of them. And unfortunately, that's the bad management policy of roadside weeds left go and vast amounts of poison being poured into the sides of the road.
If I were a blackbird, I'd whistle and sing. I'd follow the ship that my true love sails in.
Now here's an interesting little trail up the bank of the road. Perfect place for a fox or a wombat. There's plenty of wombats around here. Pretty steep. There's roadside plums and apples aplenty around here. Lots of blackwoods. Good for timber and great firewood. We're not supposed to cut firewood from the sides of the road. If a tree falls over our fence, we're not allowed to touch it in theory. But of course everyone does. Some of these blackwoods seem to have a reasonable shelf life. There's always dead ones around here that you can knock over for firewood, even though we're not supposed to. Nice wild plum tree. Just a little cherry plum, lots of them. There's all sorts of old stuff over the banks of the road here too. Old bits of old Dodges and cars and rusty mudguards and old corrugated iron tanks. Marvellous.
I'm just a young sailor, and my story is sad. For once I was happy and a brave sailor.
Find something dusty, hey? That's a nice steep little exciting pathway. Bit exciting around here. Lots of exciting smells for dogs around here, especially on a day like this when it's not too warm, not too cold, not too windy, not too rainy. Just like Baby Bear's porridge, really. Just right. Now this is quite a steep little track. You do a bit of skidding and weaving going up and down there. Now this is a dogwood bush. My friend Sandy Mullet reckons her dad Darryl Tonkin from Jackson's Track fame said that ticks like to live in these dogwoods. But this here isn't so much tick country like it was around Jackson's Track. Anyway, they look pretty. Good bit of mining going on down there. Nice wombat burrow, I'd say. Foxes like to get into them too. Pine trees are a bit of a scourge, but this is a nice little stretch to walk through. Don't know if you've ever noticed, but it is always cool under pine trees. I don't know why. A boiling hot day under a pine tree is the place to go. Definitely. A poacher friend of mine assures me that foxes like to sleep in the branches of these pine trees. And he says he's seen plenty of them, especially in the wet weather, when it's going to flood, perhaps before big rains. And big branches like these are close to the ground and they can easily climb up into them. Plus the pine cones are very good for kindling. You may hear sheep baaing in the distance and perhaps the roaring and bellowing of cows and calves. You'll see some sheep and lambs on that hill over there around that dam. Farmers have a bit of a time keeping the foxes under control around the time of lambing. Here's another tree that would be perfect for a fox to climb. Man, oh man, the size of the trunk. More wild plum trees. More cows. There could be more bush around here. People are planting more and more pockets of bush around here, which is good to see. That's a lovely dam over there and some lovely old remnant gum vegetation. And I think it's about time to turn around and go back. You ready, dogs? Had enough? There's always exciting things to sniff on the roads here for the dogs. I spotted a rabbit just before. Of course, the dogs didn't. Let's go. This roadside water looks a bit brackish at the moment, but when it's flowing, like after rains, there's all sorts of activity going on in there. Good place for tadpoles to breed, frogs. There's a well-used trail there, probably used by everything. Fox, wombat, rabbits, dogs. Good way to wind a day up. Nice brisk walk, eh? Now there is quite a very unfavourite plant of mine just up there called burr. It's not Bathurst burr, it's just the ordinary old common burr around here in South Gippsland. I went for a stroll up the road one night up the top of the hill and I lay down on the grass to do some paradiddling, or a word similar, which means staring at clouds and making shapes out of them. Anyway, what I had actually done was to lie down on a bank of these burrs. Like these are just in flower now, but they turn into big prickly stick-together balls and they're horrendous. And you get them in your socks and your clothes and they break apart and you never get these little spiky things out. Anyway, they were from head to foot. I had long hair at the time. I was a mat from all through my hair right down through it into my socks. Hooray, not for burr. Yes, so I always look sideways at burr. They do like to grow on the sides of the road. They like to grow in some paddocks. Cows like to eat them, which is good, so I don't get them in my own paddocks. Yes, so I don't like burrs. I don't like thistles. And I'm not too keen on blackberries either. They're very prickly. Well, I hope you've enjoyed that bit of a stroll and the fresh air like I did. It's actually quite chilly, being spring and all. See you later.